So let's start off with some real good horror stories about what when we get a hold of a website's back end and some of the things you've seen. And this is just a small fraction. We could go on for the whole week talking about this, but take it away.
All right. So there are, what was the catchphrase for that old TV show? In this case, it would be, there are so many horror stories in the big city.
Oh, you're right. I remember. Yeah.
So I've run into...
That was Naked City.
Naked City, right.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
So in this case, it would be Horror City.
Right.
In my travels throughout the WordPress ecosystem or the WordPress universe, I've lost count. Literally, I have lost count of the number of times I run into a website that I got to put my head in my hands and think, oh my God, why?
Yeah, and a lot of these people had web designers. That's why I own the domain name Kill Your Web Designer, that they brag about. Oh, they're wonderful. They're wonderful. No, they suck, and you just don't know it.
Yeah, and I get the comment, oh, my site works great. And I'm looking at this thing saying, what? What site are you looking at? Because it's not the one I'm looking at. So let me give you two quick examples of what I run to on a regular basis. And these two examples are very, very recent, like within the last few weeks. So I did do a website review for one particular person who had two different sites. And they were different enough that it was different from a business standpoint and all this other stuff. I mean, completely separate. But each site had one major problem that was caused by the same person. They were designed by the same web designer, and they were maintained by the same tech person, if you want to call them that. So one of the things I'm going to describe in this episode is how you're supposed to use things like plugins and widgets and the like. Some people have the feeling that more is better. So the very first one that I want to talk about literally had 53 plugins. Oh, now, at the moment, that might not mean much to you, but let me tell you something. 53 in any type of technology universe is a lot. Like sometimes it's beyond a lot. And 53 was where we started. And I took a look at this and I said, all right, I got to break this down and see what these things are doing. Okay, so this particular website had 53 plugins, which in the grand scheme of things may be okay, but I had to take a look and see, what are all these plugins doing? Is it really necessary? So I went through them step by step, one by one, and discovered, as I said earlier, more is better. They had multiple backup plugins. They had multiple security plugins. They even had multiple plugins to generate like fancy links so that they could send them to people to get access to their website, and so on and so on. And all these duplicates, while from the surface may seem like they don't really harm anything, they absolutely do, because these type of things will slow your website down, could potentially cause Google or any search engine that goes to scan your website, could cause them problems because they're not really sure what they're looking at. They're seeing all these multiple things and it causes a bit of confusion. And one of the things you really don't want to do is cause any search engines any problems. So that was one of them. The other one had an issue with too many plugins. This one was, I think, in the 40s. I think it was 45 or something like that. But even worse, they were using a theme. Now, remember what Tom described as a theme. It's the paint job. It's the way your website looks. And that is the very first thing that a visitor will see when they come to your website. So what happened in this case was the theme that they were using was heavily customized. Like, I'm going to use the term butchered because that's almost what it was like. And because of that, any slight change at all to anything within the website, either a plugin or a widget or anything, caused all sorts of problems. It was literally unchangeable, unmodifiable, with one exception. The only person who could change this was the one who created this mess in the first place. And that person went off to Tahiti, I think, or the Bahamas or someplace, completely wiped off the face of the earth and was inaccessible.